Hey everyone, welcome back again to my channel. So for today's video, I have here with me my husband. So in this video, me and my husband, we are going to talk about this certain subject that you guys might be interested for you or might not. But this subject is for those people that are naive when it comes to love or
Gullible.
gullible and are when it comes to love they're very
Giving.
giving and they're very open towards that person to the point that
Trust them too much.
it harms them
Yes.
mentally and also financially.
Hmm.
So anyways, let me start by saying the story that my husband and I heard from our friends.
It's a true story.
It is because we went to that place where it happened.
Yes.
And that place now has become a restaurant by the sea. We're not going to mention where, but it's by the sea. It's a really, really beautiful place.
Yes.
And
Upscale.
yeah, and you can tell it's from a mansion, like a mansion house. And when you go inside, the gates, the designs, it's very American way.
Yes.
And so my husband of course was asking like, this is a really nice place, who built this, so on and so forth. Like, he's very
Inquisitive.
inquisitive. He's very curious about stuff. So of course, a friend of ours was saying, oh, this was from a Filipina and a foreigner, a very old foreigner, whom
Wasn't that old, right? Older.
older, yeah, who fell in love with a Filipina. Of course, as you all know, Filipinas were very beautiful.
Yes, you are.
No, but um, he fell in love with that Filipina, and then he got her pregnant with a kid. And then, of course, he built her a house together with a kid.
And that's turned into a restaurant.
Yeah, and turned into a restaurant.
Now, we need to mention that this is not just your normal house. This is
A very
very
high
nice
high house.
house right on the beach. I mean, it's like, if I was to guess, and they were going to sell this, my guess would be, from the prices that I see online, I would guess in the 30 to 50 million pesos. So 600 to $1 million, 600,000 to $1 million. That's a lot of house in the Philippines. So
Yeah,
it's an amazing place. Yeah.
it's
So
really beautiful.
really beautiful.
And so, of course, maybe this guy did not think about the consequences that will come with it, like by building her a house. And they're not married. They have a kid, but they're not married. So maybe he thinks to himself that, oh, I got security because we have kids. And you know how Filipinos, the Philippine itself, we are a very tight knit family. So we're very close, and we don't just break up our family because of certain reasons. But maybe this guy think about that kid was a security, and of course maybe she showed to him that he is really important to her life,
Yes.
and that she really loved him. But despite all that, things happen. So what happened was, this girl, after building the house and all, what happened was she left him.
Yeah. And it's important to mention here that the Filipino law constitutionally states that only Filipinos can own land. And of course, you have to own a land to build a home. So automatically that home belongs to her, unless you go through some routes that we won't talk about here. But there's ways of making that house yours. But for that, you need to go talk to a lawyer, and a good lawyer, because some lawyers are also scammers out there. But okay.
So anyways, after building her the house and all, and then she left him.
Yeah.
And I reckon the guy feels so sad for the guy. He's an old guy. He spent a lot of money on that house. And, the fact that that girl left him, I'm pretty sure he's very heartbroken.
Yeah.
It's like his life's going to be shattered, So
I don't know how much that guy is worth. Maybe this is just a drop in the bucket, but I doubt it. Could have been his whole life savings. The way I look at it, money equals time.
Mm.
It takes a certain amount of time to make that money. Maybe it took him 10 years of his life to make that money. Maybe it took him 20. Maybe it took him
Yeah.
all 30 years to make that money. It's like she stole that time from him. She's basically stealing time from people, which is, to me, it's when you do something like that, it's the lowest of the low. You know, you have no morals, you have no character when you do something like that.
Mm.
But then she went on to do something else. Keep telling the story.
So afterwards, after she scammed him. She met another American
Foreigner.
foreigner, old also.
Well, how do you know how old did he?
He mentioned
He mentioned the age.
he's,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
he's old also, and he's
So she particularly went because my understanding is she was a good-looking girl.
yeah.
So she particularly went
I actually
after.
stalk her.
She particularly went after the older guys then
Yeah, I stalk her after our
on
friend.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know who it is?
I think I deleted the name of the search or
Oh, okay,
so.
okay. But anyway, so she went particularly after the older people, maybe more gullible, maybe of an older generation where your word was your bond or your bond was your, how do you say that? No matter, but and it may be easier to trick,
Mm.
so
So what she did was, this American guy bought her land and built her another house.
I'm sure she didn't mention the first American in the first house.
Sure. If I was a scammer, would I say
Yeah.
that to you? No. Okay.
So she got two houses in the Philippines.
Yeah, but that house, it was almost done,
Mm,
and that's when she left the guy.
yeah.
And of course, the land is in her name and all, so he can't really do anything about it now, can he? And so she left the American guy, and of course, she finished everything, and then she went to land outside the Philippines, Australia.
Australia.
Australia. She's in Australia now.
Probably having another guy build her a house. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but this time she got herself a boyfriend, a younger boyfriend,
Hmm.
and with her is her previous child from the previous,
Marriage.
not marriage, from the previous
Previous
guy.
relationship. Sorry.
Yeah, the guy who built her a mansion house by
Mm.
the beach. So yeah, this is for all people, foreigners or expats out there who are going to the Philippines thinking that all Filipinas are loving, or caring. Of course, there's a lot of
I think
Filipinas that are good, okay? And I'm not trying to generalize all population, because I'm sure Filipinos will say something again that, oh, why are you generalizing,
you
blah,
know.
blah, blah,
I think the majority of Filipinos are good people.
Yes.
The the problem is, even if you're a good person, and suddenly
Mm-hmm.
you own something that's worth 10 million pesos or $200,000,
Yeah.
and the most you've ever made in a week is, what did they make? 20,000 pesos, $100, and suddenly you own something that's worth $200,000. Maybe it does something. It does something to your
It steers
morals.
something to your
Yeah,
moral.
I could own all this and I could sell it and do this for my family.
Yeah.
So it puts people in a really bad situation. And I've always said, when you go to the Philippines, never lead with money.
No.
No, always lead with fun. If a woman wants to be with you, she's going to be with you because you're fun, not because of your money. And if she's with you because of the money, you don't really want to be with her.
The funny thing is, talking about leading with money and all that stuff. Just a side note, the first time I see Paul, I did not see him as a very rich guy, because
No, but we were joking. We were joking a lot.
yeah.
A lots of
So he,
jokes.
he does not lead with money the way he's just.
No, but I think it's important to understand human nature.
Mm,
It's important to be with that girl for a long time to make sure that she is right for you. You don't have to build a house in the Philippines, no
no.
matter what she says. And if she starts nagging you about building a house and buying land and all that, next her. Next, um, the buying land in the Philippines and building a house is a really poor investment. When you look at ROI, on renting a place out in the Philippines compared to putting it in the stock market. It doesn't even compare. You could, if you had 10 million pesos and you put it in CDs now, you'd make 3 times what you have to pay for an equivalent house in rent. So it doesn't make any sense to buy a house or build a house for that matter. So unless you've been in the Philippines married to the same chick for 5 or 10 years and you want to build something with maybe 10, 20% of your net worth, I kind of understand it, but you still have to be careful because I can tell you a story, a different story, and this is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was a Nordic guy, I believe he was Swedish, and he lived in Darwin, and they built a pretty nice house, from my understanding. And
Mm-hmm.
this is another Nordic guy who told me this story, and so I've been told the story by several Nordic guys because I'm half Norwegian. I used to go to their meetups and have
Yeah.
beers and all that, and I speak Norwegian fluently, so they tell me shit that's going on. And but he and her were actually, my understanding is they were actually in love and they had a good relationship. But what happened? He built this house, and one day he heard some sounds downstairs, and he went down,
Mm-hmm.
and there was 2 people in there, and he confronted them, and he got shot in the face. Luckily for him, he got shot here or here, I can't remember. But the bullet went basically through his jaw and out the other side. And of course, not of course, but he survived. They thought he was dead. Basically, he went down, so they thought he was dead. Shot in the shot.
You go down when
Basically,
you're
they're
shot.
thinking you're shot in the head, you're dead, right? But he was shot in the face. He survived. Of course, it took probably years of facial reconstruction and pain and all kinds of stuff. But he stayed with his wife, actually. They moved to a different island because he believed that it had nothing to do with her. She's sworn up and down, it had nothing to do with her. Okay. I'd be skeptical personally, but I don't know the relationship, the dynamics in that family. But my understanding is that the family wanted him out of the way so they could control the daughter and they could move into that house. So whenever you build something like that in the Philippines, as a foreigner, there's certain dynamics that happen in the Philippines that we as foreigners don't understand because we haven't grown in that environment, right?
Yeah.
You haven't grown as a poor person, barely surviving on food, eating rice, 25 out of 30 days without anything extra, and,
That viand
maybe
and
living under a tree. I'm exaggerating now, and suddenly you're rich, maybe it does something to people. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful not to lead with money. Don't show that you have money. Don't build a freaking house in the Philippines. Why build when you can rent? Unless you have, like I said, if you've been married many years, you have kids and all that, maybe, and you live away from the family, or you feel confident in the family, that you have to assess the situation. But you have to understand the Philippines. You have to have lived there, felt it for many, many years. And even then, I'm doubtful you understand the complete dynamics there. So you have to be really careful as a man moving to the Philippines. There are many traps. There are so many good people in the Philippines. It's called the country of smiles, man. And I loved the Philippines when I lived there. I mean, people would tell me stories of them walking somewhere in the Bamba house and people inviting them out in with barely any food. They still
we
invite
did
them in.
experience that when we
Yeah,
were walking up.
that's right. We did actually, but we didn't go in. But other people went
Yeah.
in, and it's the Filipino people are so giving, But you still have to be careful because that small percentage can really. It only takes one person to mess your life up, right? So you have to be careful, and you have to understand. Sometimes people have a different motive than you believe they have, and you have to take your time with that person. Not 3 months, 6 months, not a year, 2, 3 years, 5 years. Take your time with that person, understand that person, who that person is, understand their family dynamics, if they live close by. If they live in a different island, it's probably a different story. But so that's sorry. I'm rambling. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, because it's really a good advice to all foreigners or expats out there who are going to meet up with their soon-to-be wife or their long-term or long-distance relationship girlfriend, especially if you haven't seen each other. Like if you just go into the Philippines and that would be the first time meeting each other,
Yes.
you really have to assess your girlfriend or soon to be wife personally. And
Not soon to be. take a year or two before you marry someone.
Yeah, but other people, maybe they are, they are ready to tie the knot. So when he's going back, so when he's going to the Philippines, that's when the preparation starts for wedding, all this stuff. Other aspects to that, and
It's a very bad thing to do. And I talked this on my video that's either coming out before or after this.
before.
Before? Okay, so by the time, hopefully you can see the video, it's about divorce in the Philippines that's coming.
Tagitin.
So you got to be extra careful about that too. And on my video, I talk about what you have to do to protect yourself. And this is a really important video if you live in the Philippines, moving to the Philippines, married, have a live-in partner, or thinking of getting married. So you got to protect yourself. I think that's what it boils down to. Don't be naive. Don't imagine that this person has your best interest. Just protect yourself. Get a prenup,
Do I have
postnup,
your best interest?
get a contract if you have a live-in partner. I believe you do, otherwise I wouldn't have married you.
I wouldn't
But
sign
still,
that prenup, yeah.
but still, I wouldn't get married without a prenup. I told you this. Yeah, so prenup it was. And you have to protect your assets because, listen, I've been through two divorces. I've seen how people can react, how nice they are before, and then how they are during the divorce. And if divorce is coming to the Philippines, and my understanding of the law and absolute property division, meaning the woman gets 50 and the man gets 50, whether she worked for it or not. I mean, a man could have worked 40 years for his assets, and then he gets married, and 3 years later he's getting a divorce, and she gets half of it. That's just fucking stupidity.
Is that like a conjugal property?
That's absolute property. Absolute property division, which is the law now. After 1988, that became the law.
Yeah.
So, as a man who has worked all your life, made money, saved money, you have to protect yourself. You just have to.
So I want to ask you this, like, for example, if you are in that situation with that guy, the old guy, first one who built that girl
The house?
the house by the beach, what would you do in that situation?
I'd have never built the house.
No, I'm asking you in a way wherein,
Yeah, I already built the house, you mean?
Yeah.
What I would do?
Yeah.
You don't want to know. let's just say this. After a certain amount of time, that house wouldn't exist. Yeah, burn it to the ground.
You can't say that word.
But I would.
But what would you do if you are not the type of person who would do such thing, and you are the type of person who don't know anything about red pill stuff or don't have any idea about?
I don't know. They say a fool and his money are quickly parted. So if you're a fool, you're quickly parted with your money from a young, Filipina who's non-educated, who's 22 years old, and you suppose to have worked all your life and have all this experience and you can't protect yourself, you're an idiot. Sorry, but you're an idiot. Sometimes I feel like these guys that get what's coming to them. I mean, let me put it this way. Before YouTube, 15, 20 years ago when YouTube was still little and people didn't know better, I can understand that this happened. I can understand that people were naive and thought, people are different and this would never happen and all that. I could understand that. But now with story after story after story, and then it still keeps happening. It's like, when will people learn? I mean, how do you protect people against their... I don't think there's any way of protecting a person against his stupid choices. I mean, you have all the information you need there. Get a prenup, get some type of agreement on the house if you're going to build a house against people's recommendations. You have it all there to go to a lawyer, which costs you like $200-300, and you still don't do it. At that point, it's on you, man.
Yeah.
If you don't want to protect your money, you don't want to protect anything. It's like buying a car, okay, and not buying insurance.
Or going
and then
to
you
the
being
war
in a
without
being in a car crash, and the car gets totaled and you start crying because you don't have insurance. Well, dude, you should have spent the money for insurance, you know? That's what insurance is for, and that's what lawyers are for, to insure you against people stealing your property.
Well, there you have it.
Sorry, I'm passionate about that.
Yes, I know. So, well, there you have it, guys. These are the things that you could do to protect yourself. Like, I know that we cannot dictate you for what you're gonna do with your life or with your money and all that stuff, but with all the horror stories about the scam and you just have to go to Rafi Tulfo and all that stuff, it's
You just have to learn from other people's mistakes.
yeah. Well, with that, I would like to say thank you everyone for watching this video. And don't forget to watch the divorce law from my husband, and I'll tag it in the description box as well. And we will see you all in the next one.
And to those who haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Bye for now.